she did have a sense of humour. She had a lot of other things as well, but she, you know, I've been, obviously for research, I've been reading her diaries, which is, you know, she was, she portrayed that common touch, I think. That was one of her sort of tactics in many ways, that, you know, she was very much in the play. Caroline writes a lot, I'm just an ordinary person, I'm an ordinary Christian. So, yeah.
Tactics. That's an interesting word, because you've become particularly interested in her political campaigning side of her. That she wasn't just a caricature, she was a very effective lobbyist, really.
Absolutely. And she would call herself a social reformer, yes. And yes, because I didn't realise she had this, you know, she began this association, the National Viewers and Listeners Association, and it had thousands and thousands of followers. And when I was growing up as a teenager, I just thought she was this figure of fun. That, did she have any impact? Did anybody take her seriously? And I didn't realise. And then, obviously, the play dips into her homophobia, very problematic homophobia.
And as an actor, when we look at you and the body of work that you've done, and you look at the character of Mary Whitehouse, I know you don't have to like or be like the characters that you play, but you really are very, very, very different women. How do you find your way into her character?
Well, I think that's what, as an actor, you've always got to do, is try and understand a character. I mean, we like this term now, don't we? Origin story, you know, what somebody's... Try and find the incidents that have happened in their life that maybe have triggered the way that they're taking the journey that they take. And Caroline Bird, the brilliant writer who wrote The Last Son of Mrs. Mary Whitehouse, did a deep dive into and found, you know, Mary had had an affair with a married man when she was quite young. She'd lost 2 children to cot death when she was very young. Well, I tell a lie, they were told that they wouldn't survive when she was pregnant, but she was anti-abortion because of her religious beliefs, so gave birth to them, and they passed away. So, yeah, you have to try and feed that in and go, how do you layer that to how somebody has that mindset?
So your mindset, you take on this role of somebody you think you're going to be opposed to, or are opposed to in many ways, but did you begin to have a sense of sympathy, empathy, respect for her in the process?
I don't know. I think you try and have a sense of understanding. I think, for me, what I did find, I don't think that Mary was malicious. What she did was, I felt, was malicious, but I don't think it came from a place of malice. I think it was a place of lack of understanding. You know, her views on homosexuality, I find abhorrent. They were laced within her religious beliefs, you know, and it's what I was saying, as an actor, you have to try and understand why a character feels that way. And I think, and that's through discussion and research, and I think that's what maybe Mary was missing, that she didn't listen. She was so set, you know what I mean, on her views, and I think that's what we're missing a lot today, isn't it? The ability to discuss and listen and, yeah, just hear each other, really.
Isn't that interesting? So we're talking about, you know, a lady who was, you know, at the height of her fame 50 years ago and has had a play written about her. We're talking about her now, but actually some of the themes in that play, some of the things that you're looking at are still relevant today.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, prejudice that's being preached, you know, I think the lack of understanding of people on issues, or people have a very strong view, and it's just we need to open up and listen. You know, we're never... And that's both sides. Both sides. We clash, and we're not listening to each other, are we? There's no understanding. There can be no change. What is our common ground?
Well, just on Saturday, Elon Musk, via video link, giving a speech to the crowds at the Tommy Robinson rally in London, also calling for free speech and understanding. I mean, it's kind of like opposite sides of the political spectrum, but a kind of common theme here.
I think there's I didn't hear the speech, but I think there's free speech and there's hate speech, isn't there? And I'm not, you know, whatever. But I do think, yes, we need to be listening to each other. Else, you know, if we just we're just banging our heads against big brick walls, aren't we? We're not going anywhere, and I think we're in very dark times. So we've got to find a solution, haven't we? Whatever that.
And do you think maybe one of those solutions is through theatre, drama, and we were talking this morning about
Absolutely.
Emmys for Adolescence, which has
It's amazing.
changed the conversation
Of course
about
it has.
boys.
And that's why we've got to fight tooth and nail for our arts and for our culture. When you look, like I say, what Adolescence did, and congratulations, I mean, every award, so deserved. And, you know, and it did, it changed the conversation around that issue, but also it put, you know, look at all those working class creatives that it front and back of that camera. So it opens up, you know, you can't be what you can't see, and I think it's so exciting.
And that's Stephen
he's
Graham
amazing.
who created it. But what do you think of Owen Cooper, the youngest ever young man to win an Emmy in America?
He's brilliant, and he's from the Northwest. And, you know, when he says 2 years ago I joined a drama class, and here he is, and that's through brilliant support from, you know, from Stevie, from Phil Barentini, from that amazing team, that they could pluck that talent out, but they were given that opportunity. But they had that foresight, you know, because it's so hard for young people now if you've not got a family that can privately fund you through a drama school education, or just through a profession that, yeah, is extremely difficult to navigate if you haven't got, you know, private funds. So yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. I couldn't be happier.
And looking after him going forward as well, because there's going to be such interest all around the world.
Yeah, how do you look after him now? That's the thing.
Well, there is a duty. I always think there is a duty of care, and I do know Stephen Graham, and he's an extraordinary human being, and I know he will look after Owen and that team, and, you know, Mark Herbert at Warp. You know, because that's what happens. You know, people can get plucked out and they're thrown into the spotlight, but Owen Cooper seems like a really sensible, extremely talented young man who I think he's going to be all right, isn't he?
And so humble, wasn't he? He was standing up there in front of all those people that he'll have seen on screen.
But that's it. If he's got a, you know, family that will obviously
had his mum and dad with him, which I think is the
Yeah.
best sign ever, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But it's brilliant, and yeah, it's so exciting, and I think it's just opening the doors in so many ways. So yeah.
Maxine, great to chat about all sorts of things. Thank you for coming in this
It's a
morning.
pleasure.
And the